What's up, Geek Out Room family? We're here talking about Supergirl. There will be spoilers. So if you haven't seen Supergirl, please save this podcast episode and come back. With that being said, let's talk some Supergirl. It's not worse than Batman v Superman, but it's not much better. I'm sorry to say I've waited a couple hours, man, to really let this marinate and really think about before I say this. And I want to say this with all honesty and respect. This film felt very uninspired. It did feel like someone who's this is their first time writing a feature film. And it is. She's done theater. I think she's wrote for theater, TV shows, a short film or two, and this is her first feature film, if I'm not mistaken. And the fact that she's going to work on Titans and no. You need to go get someone else. I'm not saying that this person cannot write feature films because I think the script is it's not good, but it's definitely for your first feature film. It's not. It could be 10 times worse. Again, Batman v Superman exists. All right. Rise of Skywalker exists. Like there are some people who are very bad or wrote very bad scripts. This is not the worst script on camera. I got translate to camera, but it's not someone you want when you don't have goodwill for your universe right now. She gotta go somewhere else, get her mileage in, and then she can come back maybe. But right now, no. Supergirl, from beginning to end, this film, I don't think this is a Supergirl. I don't think this is a Supergirl that's going to get people excited for her character. I don't think this is a Supergirl that people will be like, oh, I can't wait for the sequel, or I can't wait to see her in Man of Tomorrow. I can't wait to see her. No, Mm-mm. I just don't. I also think Lobo. I think Jason Momoa had a very uninspired performance. I feel like Lobo had some really cheesy lines, felt out of place. Just didn't like it. I'm not even a huge Lobo. Like again, I'm not a huge Lobo fan. I've also not read a single Supergirl comic, so I know a lot of people are going to compare this film to what it's adapting from. I have not read it, so I don't know. I've watched the CW Supergirl show, all the seasons. I've seen Supergirl appear in like Justice League Unlimited, uh, My Adventures of Superman. I'm watching, which is great, like stuff like that. But I'm not overly familiar with Supergirl as a character. I know and I don't expect Supergirl to be an exact copy of Clark or Superman. Like, I know that, and that's fine. I'm not asking for that. But what I am asking for is Supergirl to be at least somewhat, and not just the movie, but like the character itself to be enjoyable. It just wasn't. I think it was a weird choice. Again, having Kryptonians murder people. It was a weird choice to have her kill the dude. I just didn't see any growth in from beginning to end of this film. I just didn't. I didn't see growth. I didn't see any charm. I didn't see any likability, bro. She was just. I get it. She had trauma and grief, and I understand, but she just did. But like by the end of this film, it's not like oh now she's enjoyable or now she's at least taught. Like she was just intolerable for a lot of this film. She just felt really intolerable. Everyone besides Supergirl felt very forgettable. Lobo definitely is forget. I don't care what anyone tells me. Lobo just felt like a forgettable character in this movie. The girl that wants revenge, out of place, forgettable. I don't think any single person is going to look at this character and be like, I hope that character's in Supergirl too. No. Villain forgettable. It's just a very forgettable movie. And it's unfortunate because the amount of hope that Superman gave, not just for the DCU, but just in general, because of how great the performance was as Superman from David Cornsweet, really got people probably excited for Supergirl. And it's just this movie didn't respond well. It fell flat. And a lot of people do not care about Supergirl, the character, at all. So people want to spend like $30 for IMAX. No. Move over. What's Christopher Nolan's next film? The Odyssey. Odyssey's coming. Move over. Move over. Um, Again, I think Variety was way too harsh about this film, and I do think are some people who are way too harsh about this film. But I understand, as someone who just saw it, like I just saw it, I understand though the frustration. And this is someone who's not even a huge Supergirl fan, never read the comics for Supergirl, stuff like that. I just felt like this it was a very flat performance from many actors. This movie has no heart. This movie has a soul, has a pulse, but it's weak. It's a very weak pulse. This movie doesn't move the DCU further. It doesn't move the character Supergirl further. It doesn't give you a cast of characters that you can enjoy, to be honest with you. Um yeah, the CGI at times, especially when she's floating in space, was really bad. There's fight scenes where there's a lot of movement, and it made my eyes hurt. It wasn't really easy to track. It wasn't fun. Maybe it's me or my theater or the movie. I don't know which one to blame, but the audio, the sound for these needle drops were so loud, dude. It took me out of the movie, and it was horrible. Especially that last needle drop in the last fight where she's going through like the the raiders, kidnappers, whatever you want to call them, the band of misfits, and they go from her theme to like her theme soundtrack to like a random like cover song, and it was so annoying, and it had James Gunn's thumb, it has his fingerprints all over it, and I promise you, dude, I'm being so honest, I promise you, if I get needle drops in a Batman film, I'm walking out of the theater. That I can promise you. That's the only kind of outlandish thing I'm going to say right here. If I get needle drops in a Batman film, you've lost me, and that's really annoying. That'd be really annoying. Yeah, needle drops need to stop. I'm done with that. I'm done with that. I'm done with that. It's really cheesy, takes you out of the film, and it sucks. It's overused. It's overused. Hate it. Yeah, this movie was uninspired. It was the writer's first feature film. This movie was uninspired, dude. The direction was nothing special in this film. There's no scene in this film where I'm like, oh, that's iconic, or oh, that's new, or oh, that's really cool, or that's or some kind of fight style or some type of stylistic approach as from a cinematography or a directing standpoint that's unique to Supergirl. It just there was nothing there in this film that made this film feel special. And when you make superhero films, it should feel special. When you put this much money, it should feel like an event. It should feel special. And this film did not feel like anything like that. It felt very forgettable. People were going to forget this film very quickly. Um, there's something you can wait on HBO Max to watch. To be honest with you, Millie Alcock as Supergirl for what she got was pretty cool. She's fine. Didn't like the direction of the character in this film. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I said, I just feel like the revenge angle was so weird. Like from the girl that I keep forgetting, the girl whose family died at the beginning of the film. The revenge angle was so weird to me because it's like, really, why I understand why Kara would care, but like, why would Kara care? Like, I feel like they forced that character into this Supergirl film, like how they forced Cole into Mortal Kombat One. That's what this felt like. It felt the character just felt out of place. I would have much rather, and I could be wrong here. This is open debate here. I would have much rather Kara, like the other, like the for the girl character, instead of her getting vengeance for her family, someone who was like ripped away from her home or something, and her and Kara have that in common, like the grief of missing your parents, or the grief of missing your home, being ripped away from your home. But unlike Kara, the girl can still has feelings. The girl can still go back, or something, right? And that could play in that connective tissue there makes more sense than the girl wanting revenge and them sharing grief through their parents dying. Because Kara's parents, yes, they are dead, but they didn't die that way. Like Kara's not someone who it needs vengeance, and she keeps talking about vengeance, and I don't know, it just didn't make much sense. Like it did, like Carl was trying to relate to this girl, and like, but it didn't make sense because like Carl, you're on a different grieving journey. You're in a whole different situation than this girl, and I just feel like it was way too for me. It just didn't click. The chemistry between these two felt really like it felt bare minimum, and I think a lot of that had to do not with the actresses, but more so the writing, more so the purpose for these characters didn't really feel like it meshed well. I feel like two different movies in terms of their motivations and what they wanted out of this. It felt weird, and I much rather Kara relate to a girl who's like, you've been ripped away from your home. I did too. I have been ripped away from my home as well. um Maybe the girl's like an orphan, maybe she's like one of those wives, one of those people who got basically sex trafficked in this film. Yes, because there's sex trafficking in this film basically. And it's like one of them, and she wants to save all of them, or something. And through this journey of them dealing with getting ripped away from their homes and family and all that stuff, Kara starts appreciating like those flashbacks of her and Kal or Superman, is her slowly appreciating family, slowly processing her grief of Krypton and her father, her mother, her understanding that, hey, I'm not alone. I do have a cousin. I do have a new place to call home, and I would like to go to that place. Like, I feel like there's so much you could have done to naturally progress this character through this film to make her way more likable, and to make her, I don't know, some like just someone cool and fresh as a character. And I just don't think this film did Supergirl justice in that regards at all. I don't know. It felt like it needed to do a bunch of random side quests for her to eventually get back to Earth, like for the next movie. That's what this felt like. I feel like stuff happened, and now she's on Earth appreciating being on Earth and being with her cousin. And I don't feel like that was earned throughout this film at all. I don't feel. I know she like processed her grief a little bit and stuff like that. It felt random. It felt forced. It didn't feel organic. It didn't feel like the script was leading her through these different emotions, through her grief. She didn't have time because she had this kid who was just on some a bloodthirsty kid, and she had to deal with that. Like, she had to deal with her sick dog. It's too much random stuff that didn't fit with Kara getting over certain stuff to get her to be that Supergirl, that icon. I just don't feel like, I don't know what this film did. Even if they get her to do that more through her Superman sequel and maybe her own sequel, no one's gonna want that sequel because it just didn't feel good. It didn't feel good to me. And having her kill the dude at the end felt, I don't know why people like to make Kryptonians kill people regardless if they deserve it or not. Yeah, piss poor Lobo. Supergirl, I don't think people are gonna rally behind. Um, and just uninspired movie, just uninspired. Not the worst movie I've seen. I hated Batman v Superman. I've seen Batman v Superman in theaters. I've seen Dragon Ball Evolution in theaters. I've seen Avatar: Last Airbender, M Night Shyamalan's film, in theaters. So I've seen really bad movies. This Supergirl movie is not that by a mile, by a long shot, but it is a very uninspired film that doesn't do much, and it's just another comic book movie, and not in a good way. But it's just another comic book film that people will be like, "Oh, remember that?" Supergirl will be remembered similarly, and I really hate to make this comparison, but I think it's going to get there. Supergirl is going to be in the same breath of how people remember the Borderlands movie. Remember the Borderlands movie with Kevin Hart and Kate Blanchett? Remember that movie? And you don't remember that movie because you either didn't see it or your mind was so traumatized by what you saw, you blanked it out. And that's what's going to happen to Supergirl. I think it's going to be one of those films that people are going to forget about because the Superman sequel will be dope, Lanterns will be dope, and Clayface will be dope. And then the Batman Part 2 will come out that's not even it's set in this universe, and people are going to love that. And people are going to forget about Supergirl. And I do not mean this to keep slandering this movie. This is just me being realistic. I do not think this film does anything special. There is no special scene. Again, there's no special scene that says Supergirl is here. There's no moment that's Supergirl's here, because the only moment they kind of even give for this is Supergirl, They they ruin it with a James Gunn like needle drop that pissed me off. I've never had a needle drop in a film actually make me physically and emotionally angry. This did that, and it ruined what could have been a very like the best scene in the film, in my opinion. Um, yeah, piss take, piss take, piss take, piss take. Not a good film. Not the worst. Not a good film though. I don't know if this is gonna. Don't rush to the theaters to see this. I wouldn't. This is gonna be out of IMAX theaters so quickly. Um, um, Odyssey is coming soon. It's coming soon. So like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know your thoughts on Supergirl. Um, yeah, it was a movie, and I sat there and watched it, and it was cool, but it wasn't special. It wasn't fun, and I'm not gonna think about it again.